My girlfriend grows plants in the basement. After I lost my job in the pandemic, I temporarily moved into my girlfriend's house. She was pretty chill about it, but she had one rule. You can't go in the basement. That's where I grow stuff. I began to giggle. Stuff, eh? You got a little weed farm down there? She narrowed her eyes at me, but didn't reply. I took that as confirmation. I mean, it made sense. How else would she be able to afford this house, with the 2-story foyer and the granite countertops, on a teacher's salary? But I respected her privacy and stayed out of the basement. We'd only been dating a few months, and I didn't want to pry. That was before the weird shit started happening. It didn't start out so weird. It just appeared that Samantha was very fanatical about her plants. Every night at exactly 9 p.m., no matter what we were doing, she would get up, insisting that she had to water the plants. Can it wait? I asked, after a week of this behavior. We were halfway through watching a Twilight Zone episode. At a really good part, William Shatner was about to pull back the curtain and see the gremlin on the airplane wing. No, she replied, her voice flat and emotionless. What, the plants are going to die if you don't water them at exactly 9 o'clock? I asked, forcing a laugh. Anna, she said, in a warning tone. I took the cue and shut up. I listened to her footsteps down the hall, down the stairs, then the chain, sliding against the lock. Then the creak of the heavy door opening, and her footsteps descending into the basement. That was the other thing. She always took a long time to water the plants. About 45 minutes. How many plants did she have? Was she watering them with an eyedropper? If this was taking up so much of her time, why didn't she invest in an automatic irrigation system? It was only 2 days after that when I'd opened up our electricity bill. Because I was mooching completely rent and mortgage free in her house, I thought I'd do something right and pay our utilities. But when I ripped open the envelope, I couldn't stop staring. June's electricity bill was $600. I wanted to pay it, I said, showing her the bill. I can pay half of it, maybe. I wanted to pay all of it. I floundered. I'm so sorry. I try not to run the air conditioning. Maybe it's a mistake? I mean, I just don't understand. She took the paper from me, and then nodded. Lower than last month. Good, she muttered, as if she hadn't even heard anything I said. What? Her eyes flicked to me. It's lower than last month's bill. That's good. And then I remembered. The plants. They must have a ton of lights to be growing in a pitch-black basement. Is this all from your plants? Most of it, yeah. I whistled. Well, I hope you're charging a ton for it. I can't imagine making a profit on this, or even breaking even. Her eyes met mine. And then a knowing smile crept across her lips. I'm definitely making a profit, she said in an odd, smug tone. Then she folded the bill into her pocket and walked away. I watched her go, her long skirt swaying, her Mary Janes clacking on the linoleum floor, her perfectly brushed hair fanning out behind her. Is this woman really some sort of massive weed dealer? I wondered to myself. 5 days later, the curiosity got to me. Samantha was at the office. I was cleaning upstairs when I heard her Yorkie whining. I came downstairs, to find the dog staring at the basement door. Hey, it's okay. A low growl came from her throat. Ruff. She barked. Do you want a treat? I walked over to the cabinets, searching for dog treats. Ah, bingo. I cracked open a bag of imitation bacon treats and held one up. Tutu immediately bounded over. I led her into the family room, gave her a couple treats, and set her up with some toys. Assured she was distracted and happy, I went back into the kitchen to pack up the treats. My eyes fell on the door. What was Tutu so worked up about? I thought, as I filed the treats away on a shelf. Maybe a squirrel broke in through one of the windows or something. I mean, Tutu wouldn't be so riled up over nothing. I was already walking over to the door. I raised my hand, fingers poised on the chain. Samantha said not to go down there, said the voice of reason in my head. If she knows you did, she won't trust you. It could take months, or years, to rebuild that trust. But she won't know, will she? I whispered to myself. Clink, I slid the chain and opened the door. Rickety wooden stairs led down to a cement floor. Rather than darkness, white light spilled out from the left side. As bright as daylight. I took a step, and the stairs creaked underneath me. Then another, and another. A strange smell met my nose. Slightly flowery, with a hint of something else I couldn't place. Sour, unpleasant, yet somehow familiar. My feet hit the cement floor, and I gasped. An immense planter tray sat on the floor. Massive grow lights hung from the ceiling. A sea of green extended out before me, thriving. But it wasn't marijuana. It was a vine. Tendrils the size of my arm grew up a makeshift wooden trellis, towards the light. Massive purple flowers bloomed along its stem, and oval pods the size of footballs hung at various intervals. Some of its vines spilled out onto the floor, coming within inches of my feet. "Wow, Samantha," I whispered. I stared at it for a minute, marveling its beauty. But as I stared at it, a horrible realization settled in me. No, it can't be, I thought, as my eyes darted along the plant. But it was. Even though there was no breeze down here, even though musty air was absolutely still, it looked like the plant was moving. The leaves wavered nearly imperceptibly. The flowers swayed, and the main stem, leaning against the trellis, that was easily as thick as my waist. It swelled slightly, then fell. Swelled, then fell, in a rhythm over and over. As if it were breathing. I whirled around and raced back up the stairs. I slammed the door behind me, heart pounding, and slid the chain into the lock. Tutu looked up at me from the family room, her dark eyes filled with fear.